Chapter 2 of Martha by the Day. This is a Librivox recording. All Librivox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit librivox.org. Martha by the Day by Julie M. Lippmann. Chapter 2. They plodded along the flooded street in silence, Claire following after Martha Slosson like a small child, almost clutching at her skirts. It was not easy to keep pace with the long, even strides that covered so much ground, and Claire fell into a steady pony trot that made her breath come short and quick, her heart beat fast. She dimly wondered what was going to happen, but she did not dare or care to ask. It was comfort enough just to feel this great embodiment of human sympathy and strength beside her, to know she was no longer alone. Before the house, Martha paused a moment. "Now, my dear, there ain't going to be nothing for you to do but just sit tight," she vouchsafed reassuringly. "Don't you start to butt in, if you'll pardon the liberty, no matter what I say. I'm going to be a perfect lady, never fear. I know my place, and I know my duty, and if your boarding-house lady knows hers, there'll be no trouble whatsomedever, so don't you worry." She descended the 3 steps leading from the street level down into the little paved courtyard below and rang the basement bell. A moment, and an inner door was unlocked, flung open, and a voice from just within the grating of the closed iron area gate asked curtly, "Well, what's wanted?" "Is this I should say, is this the lady of the house?" Martha Slosson's voice was deep, bland, prepossessing. "I'm Mrs. Daggett, yes, if that's what you mean." "That's what I mean. My name's Slosson, Mrs. Sammy Slosson, and I come to see you on a little matter of business connected with a young lady who's been lodging in your house, Miss Lang." Mrs. Daggett stepped forward and unlatched the iron gate. "Come in," she said, in a changed voice, endeavouring to infuse into her acrid manner the grace of a belated hospitality. Claire, completely hidden from view behind Martha Slosson's heroic proportions, followed in her wake like a wee foreshortened shadow as, at Mrs. Daggett's invitation, Mrs. Slosson passed through the area gateway into the malodorous basement hall, and so to the dingy dining-room beyond. Here a group of grimy-clothed tables seemed to have alighted in sudden confusion, reminding one of a flock of pigeons huddled together in fear of the vultures soon to descend on them with greedy, all-devouring appetites. "We can just as well talk in here as anywhere," announced Mrs. Daggett. "It's 1/4 of an hour before dinner-time, but if you'd rather go up to the parlour, we can." "Oh, dear, no," said Martha Slosson suavely. "Any place is good enough for me. Don't trouble yourself. I'm not particular where I am." Unbidden, she drew out a chair from its place beside one of the uninviting tables and sat down on it deliberately. It creaked beneath her weight. "Oh, Miss Lang," said Mrs. Daggett, surprised, seeing her young lodger now for the first time. Martha nodded. "Yes, it's Miss Lang, and I brought her with me through the terrible storm. Mrs. Daggett," supplied the owner of the name promptly. "That's right, Daggett," repeated Martha. "I brought Miss Lang with me, Mrs. Daggett, because I couldn't believe my ears when she told me she was going to be turned out if she didn't pay up tonight, whether or no. I wanted to hear the real truth of it from you, ma'am, straight with her by." Mrs. Daggett coughed. "Well, business is business. I'm not a capitalist. I'm not keeping a boarding-house for my health, you know. I can't afford to give credit when I have to pay cash." "But of course you don't mean you'd actually refuse the young lady shelter a night like this if she come to you open and honest and said she hadn't the price by her just at present, but she would have it sooner or later, and then you'd be squared every cent. You wouldn't turn her down now if she said that, would you?" "Say, Mrs. Slosson, or whatever your name is," broke in Mrs. Daggett sharply, "I'm not here to be cross-questioned. When you told me you'd come on business for Miss Lang, I thought 'twas to settle what she owes. If it ain't, I'm a busy woman. I'm needed in the kitchen this minute to see to the dishing up. Have the goodness to come to the point. Is Miss Lang going to pay? If she is, well and good. She can keep her room. If she isn't—" The accompanying gesture was eloquent. Mrs. Slosson's chair gave forth another whine of reproach as she settled down on it with a sort of inflexible determination that defied argument. "So that's your ultimato?" she inquired calmly. "I understand you to say that if this young lady, who any one with a blind eye can see she's quality, I understand you to say that if she don't pay down every cent she owes you, here and now, you'll put her out, bag and baggage?" "No, not bag and baggage, Mrs. Slosson," interposed the boarding house keeper with a wry smile, bridling with the sense that she was about to say something she considered rather neat. "I am, as you might say, holding her bag and baggage as security." "Now, what do you think of that?" ejaculated Martha Slosson. "It's quite immaterial to me what anybody thinks of it," Mrs. Daggett snapped. "And now, if that's all you've got to suggest, why, I'm sure it's all I have, and so, the sooner we end this, the sooner I'll be at liberty to attend to my dinner." Still Mrs. Slosson did not stir. "I suppose you think you're a lady," she observed without the faintest suggestion of heat. "I suppose you think you're a lady, but you certainly ain't working at it now. What takes my time, though, is the way you actually seem to be meaning what you say. Why, I wouldn't turn a dog out a night like this, and you'd let a delicate young girl go out into the driving storm, a stranger without a place to lay her head, that is, for all you know. I could bet my life, without knowing a thing about it, that the good Lord never let you have a daughter of your own. He wouldn't trust the keeping of a child's body, not to speak of her soul, to such as you. That is, he wouldn't if he could help himself. But, thanks be, Miss Lang ain't dependent. She's well and able to pay all she owes, supposing she has been kinder strapped for a little while back, and had to economize by coming to such a place as this. I've knowed others compelled to economize with 3 trunks alongside a hall bedroom wall for a while, too, and by their circumstances was such that they had money to burn. It's not for the likes of Miss Lang to try to transact business with your sort. It would soil her lips to bandy words. So I, an old family servant, and proud of it, am settling up her affairs for her. Be kind enough to say how much it is you are ready to sell your claim to Christian charity for. How much is it you ain't willing to lend to the Lord on Miss Lang's account?" She plucked up her skirts, thrust her hand unembarrassed into her stocking leg, and brought forth from that safe depository a roll of well-worn greenbacks. Mrs. Daggett named the amount of Clare's indebtedness, and Martha Slosson proceeded to count it out in slow, deliberate syllables. She did not, however, surrender the bills at once. "I'll take a receipt," she quietly observed, and then sat back with an air of perfect imperturbability, while the boarding-house keeper nervously fussed about, searching for a scrap of paper, hunting for a pen, trying to unearth from the most impossible hiding-places a bottle of ink, her indignation at Martha's cheek escaping her in audible mumblings. "Impudence! What right have you to come here, holding me to account? I've my own way of doing good." Mrs. Slosson shrugged. "Your own way, I warrant you have. Nobody else would recognize it. I'd like to bet you don't give a penny to charity once in 5 years. Come now, do you?" "God doesn't take into account the amount one gives," announced Mrs. Daggett authoritatively. "P'raps not, but you can take it from me. He keeps a pretty close watch on what we have left, or I miss my guess. And now, Miss Clare, darling, if you'll go and get what belongings you have that this generous lady ain't stripped off'n you to hold for security, as she calls it, we'll be going. An expressman will be round here the first thing in the morning for Miss Lang's trunk, and it's up to you, Mrs. Daggett, to see it's ready for him when he comes. Good night to you, ma'am, and I wish you luck." Never after could Clare recall in detail what followed. She had a dim vision of glistening pavements on which the rain dashed furiously, only to rebound with resentful force, saturating one to the skin; of fierce blasts that seemed to lurk around every corner, of street lamps gleaming meaninglessly out of the murk, curiously suggesting blinking eyes set in a vacant face, and at last, in blessed contrast, an open door, the sound of cheery voices, the feel of warmth and welcome, the sight of a plain, wholesome haven. Rest. Martha Slosson checked her children's vociferous clamour with a word. Then her orders fell, thick and fast, causing feet to run and hands to fly, causing curiosity to give instant way before the pressure of busyness, and a sense of cooperation to make genial the task of each. "Hush, everybody! Cora, you go make up the bed in the boarder's room. Turn the mattress, mind, and stretch the sheets good and smooth, like I learned you to do. Francie, you get the hot water bottle, quick, so's I can fill it. Sammy, you go down to the cellar and tell Mr. Snyder your mother will be much obliged if he'll turn on an extra spark of steam heat. Tell him Mrs. Slosson has a lady come to board with her for a spell that's fixin' for chills or something, unless she can be kept warm and comfortable, and the radianator in the boarder's room don't send out much heat to speak of. Talk up polite, Sammy, do you hear me? And be sure you don't let on Snyder might be keeping a better fire in his furnace if he didn't begrudge the coals so. It's gospel truth, of course, but landlords is supposed to have feelings, same as the rest of us, and a gentle word turneth aside wrath. Sabina, now show what a big girl you are, and fetch Mother Cora's nicest nightie out of the drawer in my bureau, the nightie Mrs. Granville sent Cora last Christmas. Mother wants to hang it in front of the kitchen range so's the pretty lady can go by, all warm and comfy, after she's took her supper off'n the tray like Sabina did when she had the measles." Huge Sam Slosson, Senior, overtopping his wife by fully half a head, gazed down upon his little hive from shaggy-browed, benevolent eyes. He uttered no complaint because his dinner was delayed, and he, hungry as a bear, was made to wait till a stranger was served and fed. Instead, he wandered over to where Martha was supplementing Ma's ministrations at the range, and patted her approvingly on the shoulder. "Another stray lamb, mother?" he asked casually. Martha nodded. "Wait till the rush is over and the young un's abed and asleep, and I'll tell you all about it. Stray lamb, I should say as much. A little white corset lamb used to eat out of your hand, with a blue ribbon round its neck, going to be sent out to her death or worse by a sharp-fangled wolf of a boarding-house keeper, who'd gnaw the skin off'n your bones, and then crack the bones to get at the marrow if you'd give her the chanst. I'll tell you all about it later, Sammy." End of chapter 2, read by Sandra.